All right. So, hello everyone. Warm welcome from Amadeus. I'm Sindhupriya, Head of Corporate Marketing and Customer Experiences. At Amadeus, we have conducted multiple webinars before, but today is extra special because we are celebrating the International Cloud FinOps Day alongside some of the sharpest minds in the industry. So let me begin with a happy note. So to everyone who is tuning in, who is spending their days in optimizing the spend, defending the margins, and stretching out every dollar, happy FinOps Day to all of you. You are a rock star. We all are rock stars. You deserve to be celebrated. It's our day. So, saying that, let's talk about why we are here. Tokens are the new enterprise currency, no doubt at it. We hear a lot of buzzwords like context windows, model routing, semantic caching, token outages. But because the GenAI adoption, while it is scaling at 3x speed, budgets are often burning at 6x speed, sometimes vanishing in a single weekend itself, right? So, what's the ground reality? Has FinOps evolved fast enough to handle tokenomics? What guardrails actually work? And how the industry leaders are solving this right now? What kind of native tooling we could rely on? Most importantly, how are we going to maximize the ROI without disturbing, without stalling the AI innovation? So we are going to hear it all from the panelists today. The topic is Tokenomics Reality Check Perspectives from the Frontlines. So let's meet the frontline leaders who are actively tackling this puzzle every day. Let me take the privilege of welcoming the esteemed panelists in no particular order. Rishi Guy, the FinOps lead, cloud consulting, a seasoned technology leader who is passionate about solving the economics of cloud, agentic AI, and helping the leaders transform their cloud investment from cost center to statistic growth advantage. So, to put in simple words, his everyday task is to knock the client doors and ask, hey, how can we save some cloud money today? Let's do it together. So that's what he is. Hello, Rishi. Welcome to the panel. Great.
Hello,
So
everyone.
next, yeah, hi, Rishi. So next, I'm moving on to Mr. Vaibhav Sharma, co-founder and CEO, Aquan AI. Vaibhav is a senior leader with a strong 30 years of experience in the banking and financial services industry. He's an expert in developing AI and digital strategy and helping the C-suite leaders or define where and how to deploy the AI across the institutions effectively. So he's also our advisor. Welcome, Vaibhav, to the panel.
Thank you. Hello.
All right. So now I'm moving to Sangeeta Bosle, director. She leads the FinOps activities for one of the big four, backed by 20 years of strong technology experience working for multiple large enterprises. Sangeeta is a certified FinOps professional and an active FinOps community contributor. Welcome, Sangeeta.
Thanks, Sidhu. Thanks for that wonderful introduction.
All right. Pleasure, Sangeeta. So now that you have met our incredible panelists, we need the right voice to bring it all together, to take this conversation in the right direction. So let me introduce our very own founder and CEO, Madhu Kumar. Madhu Kumar comes with a strong 30 years of industry experience, and after working for diverse large enterprises across the world, Madhu found one serious issue in the industry: cost optimization, cloud optimization. That's what led him to start Ambis Technologies and introduce Cloud Caddy as the product. Welcome, Madhu.
Thank you, Sindhu. It was a pleasure. Thank
So,
you.
yes, Madhu. So, before I hand it over to Madhu, audience, please post all your questions on the comments. We have a like Q&A session at the end. Our panelists will take them all. It is all yours, Madhu. We still have one more panelist, Damu. He is facing some difficulties in joining the panel, so very soon he will also get into the discussion. So it's all yours, Madhu.
Thank you, Sindhu. Sure, we'll when Damu comes in, you can do a small intro to him as well. Till then, Damu's online. Do you want to introduce him, and then I'll start the panel?
Sure, sure. Hello, Damu. Glad that
Yeah.
you have joined. Yeah, let me do a quick introduction to our other panelists. Damodharan Kuttiappan, Director, Data, AI, and Engineering. He's from NatWest Group. Damu owns over 20 years of strong technical experience. He's again an expert in FinOps, computer economics, AI platform governance, and he also builds high-performing global teams. He's an expert at it. Welcome to the panel, Damu.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity.
Great, great. Yes, Madhu, back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sindhu. Thanks to all the people who are listening in. I'm sure you're listening in from different parts of the world. Wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And Sindhu, thanks for letting me moderate this panel. And I've met Vaibhav, I've spoken to Rishi, Sangeeta, and Damu many times. And especially on this day, which is International FinOps Day, if I think most of the audience know, FinOps became a issue for cloud cost computing probably as early as 2019. Before that, every enterprise was adopting cloud, but they were all working behind the security governance compliance aspects. And come 2018-19, Linux Foundation and a lot of experts felt that the financial aspect of cloud resources may be an issue. So Linux Foundation was formed. In that sense, today, and they declared this International FinOps Day concept. So it is a great day for us to talk about all these topics. So for the benefit of the audience, we heard about each of you from Sindhu. Why don't you give us a view of how long you have been in FinOps, where were you, how far, when I say quote unquote far, have you achieved the entire FinOps journey you have been thinking, either for you or for your customers? And what's your most important priority for the next 12 months? Why don't I start with that? That'll warm up the discussion. So, Damu, would you like to go for it?
Yeah, thanks. As Sindhu introduced, me is a director heading the FinOps in NatWest. I know you know how big a branch is NatWest and what are all the infrastructure which we have there. So,
Yeah.
what is my journey on a cloud FinOps, right? Meaning where everyone started using all of the multi-cloud, right? AWS, Azure, and GCP, and all of that, right? And my journey as leading, the FinOps was to define, the cost visibility. Especially, we need to bring in the transparency, and then kind of, in the initial phases, the challenges is around, bringing the tagging governance. How can we make the business being accountable for all of the cloud resources, right? And later on bring in the optimization, and this involves a lot of stakeholder engagement between finance, engineering, and also the business teams, right? So that's where the journey of the cloud FinOps. And right now it is shifting from how much we are spending to what is the value and the ROI which we are getting, right? And my priority for the next 12 months or so would be on primarily on defining the AI taxonomy, right? Basically the tokenomics, where the lot of models have been implemented via GenAI gateway, and how do we route to the different models, and how do we choose different models, and how do we kind of rationalize the AI models to the maximum ROI business case, right? And that's where my head is around, and how do I cross charge? I've done the cross charging for the cloud. Now, how do I do the similar cross charging across the various business? And that will be my next set of priority for the next 12 months, defining the taxonomy. How does I define this? That's where I'm going. Thanks.
Very much. Love it, Damu. I think the whole industry is flexing with this whole idea of AI tokenomics. I'm glad you said that. Now, let me hear from Rishi. What do you think?
Okay, if I talk about my journey, so it's been more than 4+ year. I'm heading the Cloud FinOps practice in this Google Cloud, and day in day out we connect with multiple customers across the globe. Either it's Northam, EMEA, or JPAC. So 4 years back when we started this journey, so it was very basic one when we were dealing with the customers. So the same FinOps framework which we usually talk about, crawl, walk, and run. So they were crawling that time, and we were talking mainly about the cost visibility only. Okay, how can they can get the insights of the cost, so they can take some actions on it. So that was a starting point. We started with our customers, but the same customers now, when we are talking or dealing for the FinOps, they are talking about the proactive cost controls, anomalies, governance, guardrails, unit economics. So we see they have kind of a matured in last 3 to 4 years, starting from the crawling state, and now they are running into it. And this is how, when we defining a basic FinOps strategy, and this is something we look for, okay, that you will start with a crawl and somewhere you will run it out. So for maximum of our customers, the big enterprises, they have reached to that state of maturity, which feels us happy that we are putting our efforts and they are up to this stage now. And along with FinOps now, which is a major problem statement for our customer, is the token economics, to be honest. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the only word, if we go to any customers or go into any executive forum, this is a problem statements mainly asked by the customer that we are struggling with this. What are the solutions and offerings are available with you? And this gonna be our prime target for next 12 months, that we have to work on some solution and offerings where we can support our customers to get the insights or dynamics of the token economics.
Wonderful, Rishi. So looks like 2 out of 4 on token economics. Let's hear from Sangeeta, the big 4. What do you think?
Yes. Hi, Madhu. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yep, you're audible. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Firstly, thanks for inviting me, and I'm excited to be part of this discussion today. And I wish everyone a happy International FinOps Day. So if I reflect on our journey and compare where we were today, where we are today with where we were about 2 to 3 years back, I would say we have made a significant shift in maturity. So across many of the FinOps capabilities, we have progressed into the run phase. And a large part of our FinOps operations is now automated, whether it's automated waste identification or the stronger forecasting or the commitment management or capturing the right KPIs for unit economics. And all these areas we have matured significantly. And also, when we see our engineers are much more aware of the importance of FinOps now as compared to 2 years ago. So our conversations with them has also changed accordingly. So earlier, it was often FinOps going to the engineering team and saying, we have identified this optimization opportunity, if we can work on this. But today, we see engineers and architects themselves, they get back to us. They are thinking about the economic impact of the decision, and they come to us with the optimization ideas and ask, if we can make this change, how much we can save? Or we have made this optimization, can you help us identify the savings that we have achieved? For me, I feel that's a much stronger indicator of FinOps maturity than the number of recommendations that we generate or even the amount of savings that we report. And also, more than optimizing after deployment, we are looking at making the right economic decisions at the design phase itself. And this shift from reactive to proactive and embedded FinOps is also one of the biggest achievement for us. Along with this, as I said, automation has also played a major role in this journey for us. And we have significantly reduced our dependency on all the manual analysis. Everything is automated now. And coming to our priority for next year, it's on maturing in AI and token economics area. So we aim to bring the same economic discipline into AI as we have for Cloud FinOps, and also using AI itself to make FinOps more intelligent.
Excellent. Well, it is 3 out of 4, but I still hear something unique from you, Sangeeta. I think the FinOps, you guys are shifting it left. You're trying to do proactive FinOps. You're doing it much before you commit. So you're playing on the CI/CD pipeline stage, I'm assuming, so that the engineering team doesn't spend and then collect. Okay, phenomenal, fantastic.
Thank you.
Good thought. Okay. With that, Vaibhav, I know you run a AI company now. Let's see, what do you think about FinOps? Where are you? How far?
So, I mean, on a personal note, from a journey perspective, it's been a collusion of three things. From the business strategy perspective, advising people on the cost optimization, and now with this AI. Honest answer is this company. Why I sort of find that they're delivering that value is because we are a little ahead in
Mm-hmm.
terms from what the classic cloud FinOps is today, and it's less
So,
impressive than it sounds, and I'll explain why. So it's basically because it's not about stopping the bleeding as such, right? Our focus is on the unit economics allocation, and this is what I think some of the panelists were alluding to deliver that ROI, the business value. So yes, I mean, it's a for personally for me, it's been same as any industry journey. Now it's reached a strategic point where people want to look at it, and it's a discussion as part of the boardrooms. And that's where I think it's easier for somebody who basically focuses on unit cost optimization of business value to deliver that at sponsored by the executive team. Previously, I've seen in the organizations it was sitting as a workload optimization or sitting something behind the curve. But I think and for us, it's more about the AI aspect of it. More FinOps, yes, because we want to watch our cost, we want to watch our clients' cost.
yeah.
But it's tokenomics plus FinOps combined. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So if I sum up this first 10 minutes of discussions, if I take the liberty to do it, I see all of you, most of you have seen this FinOps mature a lot to a level that platforms like Google is proactively helping customers. I can hear from Damo, I can hear from Sangeeta, the field industries. They are proactively automating, thinking about token economics early. And Vaibhav, you're focused on the value for the cloud cost. Phenomenal. With that, I thought for the benefit of the audience, as I see that all of you are anyway looking for the next 12 months into token economics, let me rephrase the question a bit differently. For the last 3 to 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years, many of you have solved cloud FinOps in a matured way. You're in the run phase, you're solving things. Now, token economics is becoming the topic of the town. How different is these two? Do you want to take a stab at it? Like, is there an approach difference? Do you look at it similar, or hey, it's a world of difference, and this is where we focus in token economics?
Yeah, so let me start in short, right? I would say
Yeah.
we are well matured in cloud FinOps, right? And we started with crawl walk, and then we are in a run phase. We thought we are in run phase, but now when this AI taxonomy came in, we are again back to square one,
The
and
crawl
we are
phase.
from crawl phase, and we have to start the puzzle again from the beginning, right? Where I see the similarities, or basically I see this is an evolution of FinOps, token optimization, or tokenomics is all an evolution of FinOps, right? So it's not something new, I would say. Rather, it's an evolution, and the similarities still remain on the visibility and observability and the cost allocation, putting the governance control. All that is the accountability, and all that is the similarities. But where I see the differences, right? Cloud FinOps earlier was focusing on compute, storage, networks, and all of those infrastructure, right? But whereas the token optimization focuses primarily on how do we do an efficient prompt optimization, right? And how do we effectively select the models, which will give you a better cost or a better token, and how do we manage our context on our prompts, and how does the pattern for the agent interactions, right? So the shift is kind of moving in from compute, storage, and all to this, right? And moreover, we are not focusing on cost. It's versus the response, cost versus the quality of the response, what we get from those trade-offs. So those are all the shift in token optimization which we do. And one small suggestion which I would say to the team is, right, treat AI agent as kind of a digital employee for you, right, as a digital employee. And how much is the cost for any task which you give to the agentic AI, and what is the cost per outcome, and what is the success rate, and what is the business value it generates. So I think we need to, that's the kind of a difference thing which we are going. So without guardrails, I see the autonomous agents can scale cost faster than anything, right? So I think that's where we should focus on, and that's the differences between cloud and token optimization.
Excellent, excellent. So your belief is, even though you approach in the same form, the fundamental engineering thinking concepts, what do you do with the volume of tokens you get from the providers, everything changes. Interesting. Very nice. Thank you, Damo. Rishi, what do you think?
I agree with Damo what he explained. Okay, because maximum of the framework or processes which we talks about in FinOps versus the tokenomics, it's moreover similar. And in this is the same topic. Recently, we had a FinOps meetup at Bangalore,
Yep.
Google office, and this was the same topic I highlighted. That basic framework will remain same. It will not change. Okay, we are talking about the different phases: inform, operate, optimize, and the crawl, walk, run journey. It will remain same for your FinOps and the tokenomics. Nothing will change. Only point is the technical or key capabilities of tokenomics. That's something we have to work on, that how it will fit in the framework, and we have to work on that. But the point here is we have to identify it first, and then how we have to proceed on this. Just an example, if you talk about inform phase, okay, now for tokenomics we have to understand what is my token consumption, visibility around it,
Yeah.
what are the observability metrics are available which I can show in my dashboard or in some other tool. Okay, metrics around it, this will be come under my inform phase. Same way, if I'll talk about the optimize, so then I'll focus on the optimization phase of the token token economics, where I'll talk about the efficient prompting, model routing, these kind of a levers or tech capabilities which we have to fit in the optimization phase. Operate again, we'll talk about the guardrails, proactive governance, what all tech capabilities we have in terms of token economics. So let's say we have a spend caps where we can put the hard limits on the user or a particular model, that this is something you have a limit as per your budget, you have to be in constraint, you cannot bypass it. Okay, this is a hard limit. You can put a soft limit in terms of budgeting, alerting. So we have the mechanism and framework available. We have to just fit in that tech capabilities available around the token economics. That's the only key point. So this is the point where I see that it's most of the similarities we have. It's only about how we are defining it out. This is my point of view on this FinOps versus token economics.
Excellent. I love it the way, even though token economics is new, you brought in a focus of use the learning from Cloud FinOps and then apply it in token economics and grow. Interesting. Very nice. Sangeeta, how do you guys see it?
Yeah, sure, man. So I agree with what Damo and Madhu said. I would say the approach is similar at the principal level, but it's quite different at when it comes to optimization level. So as Damo said, tokenomics is basically an evolution of FinOps into AI economics. And in traditional cloud FinOps, we manage the variable cost of infrastructure, but with Gen AI, we are managing the variable cost of intelligence itself. That becomes more complicated. And here, token becomes one of the fundamental units through which that consumption can be measured. So, but when we see the core FinOps questions will remain similar, like we want to know what are we consuming, who is consuming it, or why are we consuming it? Can we optimize that, or what business value are we getting from that consumption? So the questions remains the same. And as I said, when it comes to optimization levers, there's a difference. In Cloud FinOps, we looked at infra optimization, but in AI, we are looking at input versus output tokens, or the model selection, prompt optimization, or caching, or model routing. So all these things. And as in Cloud in FinOps, we wouldn't use a very large VM for a small workload. We shouldn't necessarily use the most powerful reasoning model for every AI request here as well. So that's where I see the difference. And when it comes to agentic AI, it becomes even more interesting. So a user may see only one request, but behind the scenes, that request, uh, uh, an agent could be reasoning, retrieving the context, or calling the tools, retrying, or talking to another agent, or repeating those steps and all. So the relationship between a user action and the actual cost can become non-linear there. So I feel this is where AI unit economics becomes very important. Instead of focusing on how many tokens did we consume, we need to focus more on what did those tokens actually achieve.
Excellent, excellent. I like the word in between you used. Cloud FinOps is infra optimization, but token economics somehow go and optimize intelligence output, which is brilliant. I think that's one. Everybody, all these big models out there, should we use the large language models or should we develop SLMs? A big topic for another panel, another day. But it's very interesting to look at token economics in that sense. Very nice. Thank you, Sangeeta. Vaiba. Oh, you're on mute, Vaiba.
I was going to say I agree with everything that's been said by the panelists, right? So, but I'll bring sort of another flavor to it, which I see right from a CFO's perspective or the financial perspective is. While your framework is same, yes, from a framework perspective, where it generally gets the differentiation is what we spoke about, that when you are looking at from a cloud perspective, you are basically buying a compute hour, right? Which is sort of a homogeneous thing. But when you are looking at a token, it's not stationary. The cost is not stationary. You can't predict it because it'll do some things which is you're basically trying to get to an output. So that's where I think the essential difference comes in. And when you try to get to that output, there is you have token metering, I believe, and just sort of quoting it for that purpose. It's very difficult to sort of tag to resources during that time. You can basically tell them how much of token utilization has happened, but what it has done behind like the models we are talking about, it's very difficult to sort of look at that. So I think that's where a runtime governance, maybe a cap, is important to sort of manage these expectations. And that sort of leads into what your agents do today. They don't run, there is a sequence of steps they're running, which, not everybody is visible. It's not visible to the end user. It could be doing a lot more. It could be doing an infinite loop. So, and there my suggestion is, yes, have an agentic identity, have a, timing clock and all that, but also have a budget, right? Like hard-bound budget. Like you can't do more than that. And people will figure out how essentially to use that to deliver more value. So I think that's where I think the difference between something that is very forecastable versus something that you need to project based on how it's happening. Yeah, that's the difference.
Excellent, excellent. Now I'm seeing a couple of questions coming in on this areas. I want the audience to hold it there. We have one or two more panel questions, and I'm opening up question and answer session in the next 5-10 minutes. Now, with this, we covered the second topic, but what was very interesting, which came up, was to me this infra cost versus token cost. That's the differentiation. Most of the panelists, you are looking at how do we differentiate cloud FinOps versus token economics. But the topic of when we jump into token economics, I see all of you talking about, the economics can happen with many personas. I see that you wanted to look at the CFO's view, the finance view, the outcome view. So the personas in token economics may change, while In Cloud FinOps, the personas were just, finance, engineering, ops. Here, business leaders are coming in. Here, the boards are coming in. When token economics is being taught, I see that all of you are alluding to business value, business outcome. So it's going to be a little more difficult, I think, in terms of negotiating for a token economics team to walk into somebody's office and say, hey, we are doing the right thing, or hey, we are getting the best value out of the investments we do. Very, very interesting perspectives you all brought in. Now, with that, before I open up for the panel questions, I had only one slightly off the topic question. There is a big talk in the industry that AI investments may be a bubble, maybe may not be, or this entire AI investment is valid. I know, Rishi, you being from the platform, you may have a different view. And I see end customers, big fours, and CEOs of startup firms. What do each of you think? Nothing refers to the firm you work. It's your personal view. I want to know for the audience benefit. Are really AI investments heading towards a bubble phase? Back to you, Damo. Let's start with you.
Yeah, see, my personal view, right, it is definitely not a bubble, right? Meaning
Okay.
there might be a lot of hype around. It's a AI hype, I would say, rather than a bubble, right? Because we can already see the organizations are already realizing tangible benefits across various areas by implementing AI, right? And we have seen a lot of use cases already. So it is any technology transformation goes through an hype cycle. So we are at that hype cycle, right, where everyone says it's a AI hype, but definitely AI is not a bubble, and we are seeing a lot of things. But what we may see is there might be a consolidation of AI vendors, right? And how do we rationalize the infrastructure investment, right? And there may be a lot of increased scrutiny on ROI, right? There might be many business who wanted to go on to AI, right? But we may have to scrutinize on what is the return on investment or what is the business outcome, and then we may have to rationalize all of our infrastructure or the AI infra to that, right? So, but my closing thought is it is definitely not a bubble. It is a foundational technology shift, and it's only an hype is there, and but everyone have already started seeing the benefits of AI, and we will continue to see this, and it will be settling. All the hype might be settling down, but AI is definitely going to be there.
Good. I like this, Damo. While I don't want to take names, the open AI guys will be very happy with you. At least they will make some money in the near future. Okay.
Consolidation may happen.
Yes, there you go. Rishi, what do you think, sir?
Good. So you pointed it well that I belong to organization which is a flag bearer here. Okay. So for us, it cannot be a bubble, to be honest. And the kind of investment enterprises or providers are doing into this area is actually a worth it. And every week I'm seeing a new innovation, new investment across the globe. So it can't be a bubble. And to be honest, on the ground, I see a major enterprises which have their actual agentic AI or Gen AI use cases into their enterprise workflows now.
Yeah.
It's in productionized, it's live, and they are getting a good benefit out of it. Okay, so it's not a kind of a myth as of now. The stage of sandbox or that MVPs, we have already passed it out. We are now into the live phase where we are getting good return from our investments. That's the part one. Okay. And just one advice on top of it, whenever any customer, any organization is going into this agentic AI use case implementation, don't rush to it. Okay. Don't just go for it that I have to implement it out. Just think through it. And the two key things is the TCO and the ROI. You have to understand if you are implementing a particular use case, what is the ROI out of it? It's something tangible ROI you are looking for, revenue growth, number of users will grow, or kind of it's a strategic investment. You are looking for the customer experience or some strategic initiative, but you should be clear with your ROI along with TCO, how much you're gonna spend month on month. It should be clear from your tech stack. And once you are clear with your TCO and ROI, there'll be no surprises for you in the long term. And if you are not doing it out, there may be a surprises for you, and you can rephrase this as an AI bubble, that it's not working for me, it's just a bubble, which create a myth of overall AI investment. So this is just a one sent from my side.
Wonderful. I like that you used both return on investment as well as TCO. In the token side, the maximum talked about is what is the real cost of an agent. I think it's an area where I'm sure you're helping customers to get the TCO for agentic models. Very interesting perspective, Rishi. Well, let's hear from Sangeeta. What do you think?
Yeah, Madhu. So my view is AI itself is not a bubble, but there's definitely a risk of overinvestment if the actual AI spend is higher than the business value that can be measured. In fact, every technology shift we have seen, it has gone through this phase. We saw it with the internet, we saw it with the automation, cloud computing, and now we are seeing it with AI.
Yeah.
As Damo and Rishi also mentioned, AI has already moved beyond the experimentation phase in most of the organizations, and we are seeing huge AI investments in one side, and at the same time, AI is already delivering the real value through automation or the productivity gains and all. Yeah, as Damo mentioned, but only thing ROI is still maturing while the investments are still accelerating in the faster pace. Yeah,
Excellent.
and yeah, I think this is where FinOps mindset becomes more important. So we don't need to slow down the AI adoption, but we have to focus on making AI spending transparent, accountable, and tie it directly to the business outcomes. I think this is very similar to what we saw with the cloud. Initially, the focus was more on adoption and speed, and later organizations realized that they need visibility, accountability, optimization, and unit economics. I think AI is going through the same journey, but it's much faster. So overall, I wouldn't call AI as a bubble, but the bigger risk is scaling AI without financial discipline and without connecting the investment to measurable outcomes.
That's interesting. Very nice. I think that scaling without looking at every point what is the value add. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I like that perspective. Vaibhav, let's hear from the startup entrepreneur.
The financial services side of things.
Your life is on AI, so let's hear it from you.
No, it's not a bubble, right? It's definitely not a bubble, right? We see the demand. And based on my background in banking, capital, and financial side of things, I'll extend what Sangeeta was just saying. Essentially, right? It's not the bubble is being created artificially through the accounting trickeries, as I might say, right? And the fault line isn't the valuation; also, it's the depreciation assumption. So if you look at what AWS did, they moved their depreciation from 6 to 5 years, whereas Microsoft moved in the other direction. So who would you follow, right? So it's about you're leveraging these accounting principles essentially to basically bring in different kind of valuations and create that kind of interesting fluctuations in the market. But demand wise, I mean, you're spending capex. Capex is not, it's not fumes, right? It's four companies have filed for almost $750 billion of capex this year. And not putting anybody on the spot, but we all know that because this is a claim that Google has on the publicly, but they're doing like 3 quadrillion tokens a month, which is higher. It's going higher year on year and month on month. So there is a demand, and just from a financial perspective, I mean, we see that. I was looking at what Bank of International Settlements said, the BIS, that it's not the data center. They're not disclosing the data center deal terms, not the data center as such, but the data center deal terms are very poorly disclosed. So there's a risk of the same asset being pledged multiple times. And that's what essentially is, once it settles down and this sort of, there's a standardization that happens, as Dennis Hassabis was saying. I think everything should basically be in a standard model, and we should probably see some drops, some fluctuations, and things like that. But yeah, the demand is real. AI is here, and we are an AI company. I mean, I can't be more real on that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we are delivering value. So yeah.
Very nice, very nice. I think for the audience as well as for all of us, personally, because this is a question when I put it to the panel, I'm obligated to answer my views. I also felt that the monetization or the valuation for data centers are going through some kind of accounting principle issues. People believe that, like the mortgage crisis happened earlier, there could be a valuation issue, but the topic of adopting tokens to solve business issues, yes, there will be solutions using generative algorithms. It will improve efficiency. It may improve the revenue side of it. Maybe it will help certain industries to, shorten the healthcare life cycles or drug discoveries. So applying generative algorithms in business, there is definitely value. But is that leading towards this kind of phenomenal valuations on data center companies? A question to be asked. So the bubble, as you said, Vaibhav, may be in the valuation game. Now, I don't mind quoting. Now, NVIDIA has come up and put $500 million, $500 billion on certain asset valuations, including banks. I don't know, how that will pan out in the next 5 to 10 years. Data center constructions are going off the roof. I think countries are putting socio-economic pressures to reduce the data center because it has its own, issues. And even organizations who are heavily into sustainability, for the last 2 years, you will see very less talking about sustainability. Because if you are spending $1 trillion in data centers, you need excellent amount of equivalent number of sustainability initiatives. You can't afford it. So I see a bubble in that space, the thinking, the monetization, the capital allocations. But from an execution side, I'm with you all panel. I personally think it's not a bubble. People will use tokens. Tokens will be generated. People will consume it. Hopefully, the entire industry consumes it in the right way to solve business issues. With that, we have another 5 to 7 minutes. So I'm just looking at my notes for the questions. There were one question on token economics. We definitely answered the difference. Then there is another question on what will happen to asset monetizations for projects using tokens versus the traditional way. Very interesting question. What do you think, today, earlier, capital assets in a capitalization in any company, when you create an applications, you monetize the asset over a 3-year, 5-year period. You put the labor cost, you put the infra cost, you say $10 million, $20 million, $100 million for this capital project. Today, with this, automation of coding, things do happen very fast. So how do we account this? Does it mean that any future asset creation is going to look at capitalization differently? That's the question. Will capitalization of a software asset change by using what I call, cloud code, or because the labor hours are reducing dramatically? Technically, we are going to say that the token hours are the hours for capital creations. Now, should that be capitalized or not? Because the token cost is a current asset. You don't capitalize token costs. You're today, as of today. I don't know about the future. So do you guys think that's a very interesting question? Do you guys think the capital allocations for projects will change because we are using automated coding? Any of you? It's whoever wants to jump in.
In my point of view, Madhu, this will definitely change
Okay.
because industry is looking it very differently now.
Yep.
Earlier, if we have any software asset available, okay, we
Yep.
used to say it will take 12 months with this much
Yep.
of FT, whatever it is. Okay, we used to calculate a basic model. Okay, but now same thing when we go to any customer or any enterprise, they say you give a prompt, and you'll get the code ready in a day.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is kind of a difference every one has now, and this will change the dynamics of your capex and monetization of your assets and the projects.
Yeah.
Having said that, the interesting part would be the point which you mentioned is how we'll cover the tokens part.
Yep.
Okay, if it is like a live asset or a live sub asset to that main asset, it's tough to forecast that part, and this is a struggle which everybody is doing now, the forecasting of your tokens, which
Yep.
is tough right now, but maybe in next few weeks or a month we'll get the solution around it. But that would be an interesting part to look at how it will go towards the monetization.
Excellent. Anyone else want to give
Yeah.
a? Yep, please, Damo.
Yeah, I just want to add to what Rishi said, right? And I think definitely the capex will definitely, or the capitalization will definitely change. No, the reason being, there will be only limited amount of tokens would be available tomorrow, right? We won't be able to spend, meaning everyone wanted to spend, right? But that's where the rationalization or all this capex allocation, everything will come into play, where the business, say for example, in NatWest, we have a different business domain, right? Retail, CNI, and wealth, and various different business, right? So my anticipation is, my proposal already is to, each business should kind of anticipate their return on investment, and they should pitch in for their business case and how much token which they wanted to, again, it's all an estimation, right? Nobody can able to crack it so keenly, right? But they can put some estimation saying how much this business value can bring in ROI, and how much token would I be need. So they won't be able to do it today, but there are some calculations which are available. So and then at the table, CFO table, we do all of this rationalization and say, whatever takes the maximum business value. I think that gets the major chunk of capex, right? And meaning, traditionally we have done the similar way, but there will be a change on ROI, and also the way how much the AI tokens which they need to build a solution, right? And that would be the change in stance on the capex, is my view.
Excellent. No, that's going to open a Pandora's box. If you ask me, the SaaS world opened it up. There used to be issues of data centers and softwares as fixed assets and depreciate over a period of time. The cloud world came in, it became current asset for some time. Then this 3-year, investments came up. It's a very interesting area. Good. Sangeeta and Vaibhav, do you guys want to take a look at this? I have one more question. I think with that, we will close the panel.
Yeah, I'll basically, I mean, just on that note, right? As you basically said, the whole principles from, you could have a forecaster, like it's seatings, it's basically human resource that you could define. Essentially, that's building the software. So from that perspective, that aspect is going to change. It has to change, right? Because you're doing it in a different way now. So while you can basically lay it out in terms of saying how much am I going to basically look at from a software from year on year, and as you said, the outcome. So once we define an outcome, and I think what Damu was alluding to from a business value perspective, then you have to retrace it back to how it was delivered from a cost perspective. Right now, it's very forward looking. I think you will have to basically do a realization, and then from there on, look at it backwards from an accounting principle. So I think that's what will change, and the reporting also on that software. So
excellent. Sangeeta, before I go to the next one, do you guys face it? Yeah, you're on mute, Sangeeta.
Sorry, I was not able to unmute. Yeah, Madhu. So we are in the same line as Damu, Rishi, and Vaibhav mentioned. So I agree with the same point. So it's repeated again. Yeah.
Excellent. And before I close, we have one more. I think we have 10 minutes. I'll take 5 minutes for that question. I'll read the question because it is a little bit technical for me. How are teams handling chargeback attribution for Azure OpenAI token spent? Is anyone doing this well yet?
Yeah, I can take on this. I read this question.
Yes. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm dealing this now. Again, it is Yeah, not only on OpenAI, right? I know your question is specific on OpenAI, and I also do it for OpenAI, AWS, and also for Google, right? So basically, I have a GenAI gateway, which is an LLM gateway, and where any request comes in, it routes, to the various models which is there. And the models are, it could be OpenAI, or it could be AWS, or it's Google, right? So,
Yeah.
and this gateway has the capability to take track all of the input tokens versus the output tokens, right? And we have the number of dashboards, right, available in the market. Again, with Grafana, say, QuickSet, and you can pull up that report and saying that this is my input token for a use case. So I have a clear segregation of what are all my use cases which got onboarded onto my GenAI platform. And then when anybody makes any request, right, so I have a complete view of what is this consumption, both on input as well as the output token. And I have a overall today it is manual, because there is no mechanism to kind of bifurcate the cost and give the cost charging or an allocation automatically, but I'm doing it manually. Kind of, I know the overall consumption for a month, and then I know, say, if I have 10 different use cases, so I actually have more than 300 use cases. So if there are 10 use cases, I know the consumption for each and every use cases. What is the token for this month, or and then I kind of divide it, right? So total cost divided by what is your cost, and plus additionally, it is not only token, right? There will be additional infrastructure, and also VPCs and a lot of additional infrastructure, right? I'll call that as a service charge.
Yeah.
I normally put it as some X percentage of a service charge on top of the token cost, and that's how I do a cross charging to the various business, and that's how I do the attribution and the cross charging. Is that answering? It's not on audio, right? It's only on a message, and I think people
Yes.
get a message, and they're not sure whether they have any follow-up question, or if they have a follow-up question, they need to
They
put it
had
back.
one more, but it is little bit different. How are the industry practices? And thank you, Sindhu. I think she's putting it on there around governance and security controls and how the ownership. It's a very big topic, but if anyone wants to take a stab at it, please go for it. How are the industry practices followed around governance and security controls, and how the ownership around it? And I'm assuming this is for the token consumptions, because the cloud entirely went through this governance, security, compliance for many years. Now, around tokens, if we reword the question, do we need to have governance and security controls? And if at all we need to have, are we doing it how?
Let me try to answer this, Madhu.
Sure. Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. Okay. So the particular question, it talks about governance and security, which itself a major field. Okay.
Yes.
So there cannot be a specific answer to it. But in general, when you're talking about governance for your agentic AI solution, your governance will be across all the layers. Either it's your top layer where your agent is sitting, your model where your model is exposed, and your hardware, which resides at the bottom layer. So all the three layers, you have to put the governance and the security. Just an example, you're talking about the agent. Okay, so how agent is integrating with the different APIs or systems, that you have to make it secure. It should be in some VPCSE parameter. Whatever prompts you are putting in, it's not going into a loop which is causing you a spike. So these kind of a governance and security mechanism you have to put in, and it will be put at every layer of the solution. And this is a primary area which you have to put focus in the design part of it, not before the not after the implementation. So during the design phase, just should be your checklist. These are the governance and the security points which I have to take care of.
Excellent. Excellent. With this, we have only 4 more minutes. So I will thank all of you panelists in person. Damodaran, it's excellent to have you with us. Rishi, thank you very much for joining. Sangeeta, pleasure to have your views. And Vaibhav, it was excellent to have you join us in the panel and talk about everything. I do know that during the sessions, a couple of them had issues joining in through LinkedIn, as well as a couple of questions. Any more questions which comes in, Sindhu will organize an answer. Now, Sindhu is back. Hey, Sindhu, thank you very much for allowing me to moderate and not take the tough answering part. I love moderation. So henceforth, whenever you call me for panels, please call me for moderation only. Thank you, Sindhu.
Sure, Madhu. Thank you so much for taking the conversation in the right direction and making it so engaging for the panelists and also for the audience. Thank you the participants and for all the questions that you have posted. Suresh has thanked you, Rishi, so for your answer. So he is convinced. So Suresh, even Shivan, or anyone else who is watching till now, or if you have any further questions related to the topic, please do reach out to the panelists and also to us on LinkedIn. We are very much active on LinkedIn and we'll be happy to answer all your further questions. So, thank you, dear panelists, for your time. Thank you. You have generously accepted to for some you all have one thing in common when it comes to giving back to the community, especially the FinOps community. You always say yes. So that helped us to bring you all together on this International FinOps Day and get all your insights. Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists, once again, and listeners. Thank you, wonderful audience. Yes, we faced a lot of difficulties initially on LinkedIn, but still, I started getting a lot of messages and texts asking it is not working on LinkedIn, where we can actually rejoin and listen to it. What are the other options left? That's so sweet of you. That really touched us. We understand the curiosity that you have on learning something around this topic. We'll keep coming up with more interesting topics around this, and we'll bring all experts to address that as well. Thank you so much. With this, we are closing the session. We'll soon meet you with another interesting session. For your information, this entire session will stay live and it will be ready. It will be available for you to watch anytime on LinkedIn and also on our official YouTube channel, Amethyst Technologies. So, also, you will be getting all the recordings and the key takeaways over mail in another couple of days. Thank you so much. With
Thank
this,
you.
Thank you, Madhu. Thank you,
Thank
we'll
you.
Sindhu.
sign off.
Thank you.
Thank
Rishi.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.